If your style of campfire making is limited to stacking big sticks on top of medium sticks on top of little sticks, well, this is the video for you. I'm going to show you 4 different types of campfires that you can make, all offering their own set of advantages and disadvantages, so you can choose the fire type that best suits your situation. Let's start with the one you're probably most familiar with. This is one of the easiest, most basic, simple, first to learn fires that one can make. What's up, my preppers? What's up, Jack? What's up, my preppers? Let's make a teepee fire. In its most basic form, we add some tinder, stack some small sticks around it in the form of a teepee, add some bigger sticks. That's it in its most basic form. But we're not going to do just basic. We're going to make it more teepee. Let's scrap all this stuff. We're going to start with a teepee base. Then we're going to add these leaves back on the base. We're going to add some bigger logs. That looks better, but it's still not teepee enough. Let's add some bark for the walls. We're not going to be able to get away with just leaves for tinder. I'm going to start by taking some fine birch bark and making it very fine. That's nice. Then I'm going to sprinkle some dead pine needles on top. It's ready. Extra tinder is also ready. I was just bit by the FC5. Check my upcoming videos on knife safety. Now this fire does have some advantages beyond its simplicity. It is quick to ignite and it concentrates heat. So if you needed to boil water over a pot, let's say, this is a great way to do it with a small amount of wood. Of course, it has its disadvantages too. The disadvantages are that it's quick burning and it's not very stable. So this is obviously going to collapse sometime soon. This is not ideal for extended outdoor cooking because it's hard to get a good bed of coals with this. It just burns too fast. So I've actually chosen the wrong fire that's getting pretty warm for today's mission, which is cooking cowboy steaks. Now, before you roast me in the comments telling me that bark is not good for a fire, yes, I understand that, particularly when you're just starting the fire, unless it's damp conditions and you're setting the bark down and building your fire on top of that. But learning new skills doesn't have to be boring. You can add some entertainment value, okay? Do you want a longer lasting, self-sustaining, stable campfire? This is an upside down fire, and it takes a traditional method of making a fire and turns it upside down. Rather than starting with tinder and small sticks and building larger sticks on top of it, the traditional method, with the upside down fire, you start with tinder on top. We're going to make a fire that is stable, efficient, promotes good airflow, and is visually appealing. It's also long-lasting and good for cooking. I'm going to show you how to build a log cabin fire. Now, some people confuse this with an upside-down fire or an inverse fire. They're similar, but they're not the same thing. In an upside-down fire, the tinder goes on top and burns its way down. That's not what we're doing here. But first, we need some wood. We're going to start by laying our first set of logs down across. You can do 6 to 12 inches depending on what you're going for. And this is going to form the base of our log cabin. We're going to stack it like a log cabin. I'm going to make mine a little bit wider. Now that I have enough layers stacked, I'm going to build a teepee fire inside. We need some tinder next. I've kind of gone skimpy on my tinder, which I don't like to do, but I'm being lazy. This will test my fire making ability. See if I can get it right the first time, because if I don't, I'll be going for more tinder. And nobody wants to go for more tinder. It's been raining here, so that's not going to help anything. Okay, more tinder. I didn't get much more, but it's more than I had. Now see the nice little chimney teepee effect we've got going on inside the log cabin fire? That's what makes it a picturesque fire. It's also stable, it'll burn for a long while because we got a good amount of sticks here. And once this gets good and rolling, we'll have a bed of coals, and then I'm going to be able to cook on it. This is actually one of my favorite fires to make because it's so pretty. You can't tell me this isn't a pretty fire. If you're finding this video informative, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. Want to learn a type of campfire that's easy to construct and is great for windy days? It's another day, it's another fire. It's a little bit breezy today. It's an opportunity to talk about the lean-to fire, which is a great fire if you're encountering a windy day. Now obviously windy day and campfire are two things that don't typically go hand in hand, but I trust your judgment in determining fire safety. This style of fire does have some disadvantages, however, that I'll get to in a minute. But first, let's get some firewood. It starts with a large log. This is the backbone of the lean-to that would shield your tinder from the wind. Now normally I would do tinder last, but I'm actually going to get the tinder in place here now because I'm going to end up covering it with a lean-to, which you'll see. So I'm actually going to get the tinder out of this log that I've laid because my favorite tinder is actually birch bark. Now to really get this to catch, what I like to do is scrape some of this up. Now we're ready to build the rest of the lean-to. Here comes the top of the lean-to. I have a few pieces of very dry cedar from a deck that I replaced. I'll add those in here. I don't want to cover up my tinder spot too much. I'm already going to have a high drop for the spark. This piece I might actually make into a feather stick, just for a little more love. Here we go. I got this byproduct, and it's not going to win any beauty pageants in the feather stick department, but it's certainly better than what we had. Now you can see how this fire will have good air movement coming in from this side. So that'll give it good combustion. Just don't overstack your wood here so it doesn't get as much air, which is what I've done a little bit. So the disadvantages of this fire is that it doesn't have the greatest heat dispersion. It's going to be concentrated right here. So if you've got people sitting around a fire, it's not going to be the best type of entertainment fire, if you will. It's also not the greatest for cooking. Your fuel will burn fast and you'll have to keep feeding it. People that express concern about the potentially burned spider in one of my last videos, rest assured that I checked these logs before I set them in the fire. 3 spiders' lives were saved by my flicking them off. And we're off to the races. Now, as I mentioned, this is a fire that you will have to keep feeding. And you'll note that as sad as that feather stick was, it's still helping the fire catch. And there you have it. There's a lean-to fire. Let me know in the comments if there are any fire types that I should have considered here that I didn't.